The courtroom fell into an unnatural silence as the heavy oak gavel slammed down, echoing like a thunderclap across marble floors. The presiding judge, a stern man in his late 60s, stared hard at the crowd. Anna Clark, 32, the defense attorney, clutched her folder so tightly her knuckles turned white. Anna's breath caught. Her client, Michael Green, a 36-year-old father, looked up in confusion. Suddenly, a voice rang out, unexpected, defiant. "I did it." All heads snapped to the back row. A woman with tear-streaked cheeks, late 40s, trembling, stood up. The gallery gasped as the judge demanded, "Who are you?" Anna's heart pounded. The prosecution, a sharp-eyed woman named Marissa Hayes, leaned forward, sensing an advantage. Michael shook his head, whispering, "No, this can't be." The judge repeated, "State your name." The woman's voice broke. "My name is Linda Green. I am Michael's mother." Anna's thoughts raced. Was this a confession, a ploy, or something darker? Michael whispered, "Mom, don't." But Linda continued, voice steadying, "I cannot let my son take the fall." The judge motioned for silence, but murmurs erupted. Anna realized in this moment everything she thought she knew had shattered. The entire courtroom waited for the next word, caught between disbelief and awe. Anna's resolve steeled. This was the moment that would define the entire case, and perhaps her life. Nothing would ever be the same. Anna could feel the blood pounding in her ears as she tried to process what just happened. Her client Michael was staring at his mother, horror and disbelief mixing on his face. The entire courtroom had fallen into a suspended, breathless hush, everyone transfixed by Linda's confession. The judge cleared his throat, struggling to re-establish order. Anna glanced at the jury, watching them exchange anxious, uncertain looks. This wasn't supposed to happen, Anna thought, her own doubts rising. Michael's whispered plea for his mother to stop hung in the air, unanswered. Marissa Hayes, the prosecutor, scribbled notes rapidly, her eyes flickering with calculated interest. Anna's fingers tightened around her pen, mind racing through legal possibilities. Linda Green stood alone, her figure almost fragile but her words echoing with impossible strength. Why now? Anna wondered. What truth does she carry that could possibly turn everything upside down? The court stenographer's fingers clattered over the keys, trying to keep up with the chaos. The judge finally managed, "We will have order in this court." Anna exhaled, realizing the case, and her own convictions, had already shifted in an irrevocable way. Michael's entire body trembled as he looked at his mother. "Mom, please don't do this," he whispered, but Linda's eyes were set, filled with a pain deeper than words. The gallery watched, breaths held. Anna watched Michael, seeing him as both a grown man and a terrified child. Linda stood straighter, as if a decision had hardened within her. The judge studied her, expression softening for the briefest moment before turning stern again. "Mrs. Green, do you understand what you're saying?" he asked. Linda nodded, her voice small but unwavering. "Yes, Your Honor. I cannot let my son suffer for something I did." Michael's fists tightened, knuckles white, his breath coming in short, frantic bursts. Anna's heart twisted. She wondered what dark secret had been buried for so long. The prosecutor shifted in her seat, already plotting a new strategy. Michael leaned forward, voice breaking, "Please, Mom, tell them the truth." But Linda's eyes never left the judge. In that moment, Anna knew whatever story Linda was about to tell would change everything. The judge leaned forward, his gravelly voice measured, but not unkind. "Mrs. Green, you are aware of the consequences of your admission?" Linda nodded, her jaw trembling, but set. "I am, Your Honor." Anna could feel every heartbeat echoing in her chest. Michael's eyes pleaded, desperate for Linda to stop. The prosecutor's pen hovered, waiting for the next word. The court stenographer's keystrokes became frantic as she documented each word. Anna observed the jury's faces, painted with a mix of shock, suspicion, and curiosity. For a moment, time slowed. The old clock on the wall ticked, loud and insistent. Linda took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I cannot live with the guilt anymore. My son is innocent." The gallery stirred, a ripple of whispers moving through. Anna knew the prosecution would attack Linda's credibility, but the pain in Linda's eyes was too raw to ignore. Anna whispered to herself, "This is the beginning of something far bigger than I imagined." As the murmurs settled, the judge raised a hand. "Court is now in recess." Both counsels approached. Anna stood, gathering her scattered notes, her mind spinning. Michael looked broken, his entire world unraveling with each word. His mother spoke. Linda remained standing, hands trembling but head high. The prosecutor approached, her eyes sharp, ready to pounce on any weakness. Anna's pulse raced as she met Marissa Hayes at the bench. The judge's eyes bore into both attorneys, signaling the gravity of the moment. "This case just changed. I expect order and clarity from both sides," he intoned. Anna nodded, masking her inner turmoil. The prosecutor gave a thin, tight smile. Michael lowered his head, shoulders shaking. Anna took a breath, grounding herself. She realized that her duty now extended beyond Michael. She was about to unravel a web of secrets that could destroy or redeem 2 generations. The judge's gavel rested on the bench, silent but heavy with consequence. The courtroom emptied quickly, whispers trailing behind as Anna and Marissa retreated to their respective corners for strategy. Anna's mind raced through every angle. Linda's confession was both a bombshell and a labyrinth. She paced by the defense table, eyes fixed on Michael's broken figure slumped in his chair. "We need to understand what drove her to this," Anna murmured. Michael barely nodded, his gaze distant and haunted. Outside the courtroom, the afternoon sun cast long shadows over the stone steps as reporters swarmed, hungry for every detail. Anna caught the eye of her investigator, a grizzled man named Tom, who nodded silently. They needed proof, something to corroborate Linda's claim before the prosecution tore it apart. Marissa, meanwhile, leaned on her polished briefcase, smirking as she whispered to a colleague, "This changes nothing. We will unravel her lies." Anna's jaw tightened. The line between truth and deception blurred, and every new detail felt like walking a tightrope over a pit of fire. Michael's innocence now hinged not just on facts, but on family secrets that might be better left buried. That evening, Anna sat alone in her cramped office, files spread across the desk like a battlefield. She reread Linda's handwritten confession, her eyes scanning every word for clues. Something felt off, too neat, too rehearsed. Tom knocked softly, entering with a folder thick with photos and notes. "We found a lead," he said quietly. Anna's pulse quickened. The evidence showed discrepancies in Linda's timeline and witnesses who claimed to see her elsewhere during the crime. Could Linda be protecting someone else? Or was she hiding a truth darker than anyone suspected? Anna's phone buzzed, Michael's name on the screen. "I don't know who to trust anymore," he said, voice cracking. Anna closed the folder gently. "We'll get to the bottom of this, together." As midnight approached, the city outside darkened, but Anna's resolve burned brighter. The deeper she dug, the more tangled the web became, and every thread threatened to snap. The next day in court, Marissa pressed Linda with ruthless precision. "Mrs. Green, why should the jury believe your confession when witnesses place you miles away at the time of the crime?" Linda's hands trembled, but her voice remained steady. "Because the truth is more complicated than where I was." Anna watched closely, heart pounding, as Marissa unleashed a barrage of contradictions. The prosecution painted Linda as a desperate woman, trying to shield her son at any cost. Yet beneath the accusations, a silent question hovered. Was Linda telling the truth, or weaving a more tangled deceit? The jury's eyes flicked between Linda and Michael, caught in the crossfire of family loyalty and justice. Anna knew this was only the opening volley. Behind the polished words lay a battle for the soul of the case, a battle where no one could afford to falter. Anna called her first witness, an old family friend who hesitated, but then revealed a hidden fracture in the Green family's past. Linda was overwhelmed, the witness said quietly, pressured to take blame for something bigger. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Anna's voice rose steadily. Can you explain what this something bigger might be? The witness glanced nervously at Linda, then back to Anna. There were debts, threats, and someone else involved. A hush fell. Marissa scowled, preparing to challenge, but Anna felt a flicker of hope. The case was no longer a simple confession. It was a complicated story of loyalty, fear, and dark secrets. Michael's fate now rested on unraveling that story before the jury could decide who to believe. As the day waned, tension twisted tighter around Anna. Marissa countered with forensic reports, contradicting the witness' claims. Science does not lie, she stated coldly, presenting evidence that seemed to seal Michael's guilt. Anna stared down at the documents, searching for cracks. Michael's eyes met hers, pleading. There has to be another way, he whispered. Anna swallowed hard, realizing the walls were closing in. But beneath the crushing weight of evidence, Anna's instinct screamed that the truth was still hiding, buried beneath layers of lies and fear. As the judge called for a brief recess, Anna resolved to push harder, dig deeper, and fight for Michael's innocence, no matter the cost. This case was far from over. The courtroom buzzed with an uneasy energy as Anna called her next witness, a private investigator named Tom. His face was weathered, mid-50s, eyes sharp beneath a furrowed brow. Mr. Tom, what did your investigation uncover about Mrs. Green's whereabouts on the night in question? Anna asked calmly. Tom paused, then laid out a timeline that contradicted Linda's testimony. She was seen miles away, at a diner, with a man unknown to this court. Murmurs erupted, the judge silencing the crowd quickly. Marissa's confident smirk faltered. Linda's face paled. She gripped the edge of the witness stand. Anna pressed on. What about the man? Any name? Tom nodded. He's connected to a series of shady dealings linked to the Green family. The room grew heavier with suspicion. Anna sensed a fracture forming in the prosecution's case. But with every new detail, the case's tangled web grew more dangerous, and the stakes rose beyond the courtroom walls. After the testimony, Anna retreated to a quiet hallway where Michael waited anxiously. Tom's findings shake everything, don't they? Michael's voice trembled. Anna nodded. Yes, but it means we have more questions than answers now. Michael ran a hand through his hair, despair visible in his eyes. I don't understand. Why would Mom lie? Anna looked at him with sympathy. Sometimes truth is buried in fear or sacrifice. We need to keep digging, no matter how painful. The hallway echoed with distant footsteps and murmurs from the bustling courthouse. Anna's phone buzzed again, a cryptic message from an unknown number. The past is never dead. She shivered. Michael's face hardened, determination flickering. Whatever it takes, he said, voice steady. Anna felt the weight of their shared journey, one fueled by uncertainty but bound by desperate hope. Back in court, the prosecution summoned a forensic expert to dismantle Linda's credibility. The expert's tone was clinical, devoid of empathy. The DNA evidence places Mr. Green at the scene conclusively. Anna felt a chill but forced her composure. The jury shifted uneasily. Is there any possibility of contamination or error? Anna challenged. The expert shook his head. Marissa leaned in. Science is indisputable. Yet Anna noticed a flicker of doubt in one juror's eyes. The courtroom felt like a battlefield of facts and emotions. Michael's fate seemed to teeter on a razor's edge. Anna's mind raced for a strategy, knowing the battle for truth was far from over, and the courtroom's walls were closing in. During a break, Anna met with Tom in a dimly lit cafe nearby. Tom, this man? Who is he really? She asked quietly. Tom's jaw tightened. A shadow from the Green family's past, criminal ties, debts, and danger. This isn't just a family secret, it's a legacy of lies and threats. Anna's fingers tightened around her coffee cup. If Linda's protecting someone, it's not just Michael's freedom on the line. Tom's gaze was grave. We need to find that man before it's too late. Anna felt a surge of urgency. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping against the window like a ticking clock. Their fight was becoming a race against time, shadowed by forces lurking just out of sight. The courtroom reconvened as Anna presented new evidence, photos showing Linda with the mysterious man. Gasps filled the room. Marissa's eyes narrowed. Forgery. Anna met her stare, or the truth finally coming to light. Linda's hands trembled visibly now. Michael exhaled sharply, hope and fear colliding. The judge called for calm, but the jury was visibly shaken. Anna's voice was steady as she pressed. This man has a history of manipulation within the Green family. The truth isn't as simple as guilt or innocence. It's buried beneath layers of betrayal. The prosecution scrambled to respond, but Anna had planted a seed of doubt deep in the minds of the jury. This was no longer just a legal battle. It was a fight for the very soul of everyone involved. The courtroom hushed as the door swung open and a figure stepped inside, unexpected, deliberate. Anna's breath hitched. The man, in his early 40s, sharply dressed with a hard gaze, walked confidently to the front. "Your Honor, I am David Harper," he announced. "I have critical testimony regarding the Green family." The judge raised an eyebrow. Linda Green's eyes widened, and Michael's expression flickered with hope and confusion. Marissa's posture stiffened, recognizing the threat immediately. David's voice was steady. "I was involved in the financial dealings that have cast shadows on this case." Anna leaned forward, sensing a new layer unraveling. The jury sat forward, sensing the trial tipping into uncharted territory. "My revelations will change everything you think you know about this family and this case." The room tightened with tension as David prepared to speak a truth long buried. David recounted hidden financial transactions, hushed meetings, and veiled threats linked to a powerful figure within the Green family. "These dealings forced Linda to make choices none of us can imagine," he said gravely. The courtroom grew heavier with every word. Anna watched Linda shrink slightly, her hands trembling on her lap. Michael's fists clenched, the weight of his family's secrets settling hard on his shoulders. Marissa's face hardened, but even she seemed unsettled. The judge remained stoic, yet the shifting dynamics were clear. "This case isn't just about guilt or innocence," David declared. "It's about the truth buried beneath years of deception." Anna felt the magnitude of the moment. The walls enclosing them all with buried sins finally exposed. Anna took her chance during cross-examination, probing David's motives. "Why come forward now?" she asked, voice steady but insistent. David met her gaze evenly. "Because the lies were destroying us all," he said softly. "Because I can't live with the guilt anymore." The courtroom felt electric. Linda wiped a tear. Michael's eyes glistened with a mix of pain and relief. Marissa's rebuttal was swift. "Mr. Harper's credibility is questionable." But Anna sensed the jury's growing empathy. "This isn't about perfect characters," Anna countered. "It's about the truth we owe to justice." The battle lines shifted once more. The courtroom a stage for human frailty as much as legal prowess. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, Anna unveiled a hidden recording David had secretly made, a conversation revealing threats from a shadowy family member intent on keeping secrets buried. The audio crackled, clear and chilling. "You will take the blame, or we all fall," a man's voice demanded. The courtroom was frozen in disbelief. Linda gasped softly, Michael's face drained of color. Marissa shot a furious glance at Anna, who met it with unwavering calm. The judge called for order, pounding his gavel. The jury exchanged wide-eyed looks, the weight of betrayal sinking in. Anna's revelation shattered illusions and deepened the case's complexity. Truth and deception now tangled beyond untangling. The day ended with the courtroom in turmoil. The judge called for a recess, his voice heavy with gravity. Anna sat quietly, her mind racing over every twist revealed. Michael rested his head in his hands, exhausted yet somehow more hopeful. Linda sat rigid, the burden of her past now exposed to all. Outside, the sky darkened with an impending storm, mirroring the turmoil within. Anna whispered to Michael, "We're closer than ever, but the hardest truths are still ahead." As she watched the others leave, Anna felt the fragile thread of justice holding fast, for now. But the shadows cast by family secrets stretched long, promising the fight was far from over. The courtroom filled with a tense hush as Anna rose to deliver her closing argument. Her voice was steady, but every word carried the weight of desperation and hope. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is not about simple guilt or innocence," she began, eyes scanning the faces before her. "It is about the tangled truths hidden beneath layers of fear, sacrifice, and betrayal. Michael Green stands accused not just by evidence, but by a history that tries to suffocate the truth." Anna paused, letting the silence deepen. "We have heard confessions and contradictions, seen threats and secrets unravel. But at the core is a family torn apart by shadows no one dared confront until now." She leaned forward slightly. "Your verdict must pierce through the lies and deception, seeing Michael for who he truly is, an innocent man caught in a storm not of his making." The jury's expressions were a mixture of thoughtfulness and uncertainty. Anna's heart pounded. This was her last chance to sway them. Marissa Hayes stood with cold precision for the prosecution's closing statement. "Members of the jury, justice is not served by tales of family drama and half-truths," she said sharply. "Science and facts speak clearly. Michael Green was present, and his guilt is supported by evidence." Her gaze hardened as she scanned the jury. "Confessions may come from guilt or manipulation, but they do not erase the undeniable truth." Marissa's voice rose with passion. "Linda Green's story is riddled with inconsistencies, and the witness testimony we heard was challenged with hard data." She gestured toward the forensic reports. "Our duty is to uphold the law, not to unravel family secrets in the court of public opinion." The courtroom was rigid with tension, jurors listening intently. Anna met Marissa's stare, unblinking, their battle of wills etched into every line and crease of their faces. The judge's voice broke the heavy silence. "Members of the jury, you will now retire to deliberate." Anna watched the jury stand, their faces unreadable masks of concentration. Michael's hand found hers briefly, a silent plea for hope. Outside the courtroom, the sky darkened ominously, as if nature itself awaited the verdict. Anna paced quietly, replaying every testimony, every moment, her mind a whirlwind of what-ifs. The weight of years of preparation hung heavily on her shoulders. "This is more than a trial," she whispered to herself. "It's a reckoning." The courtroom doors closed behind the jury, locking away the fate of Michael Green. Anna exhaled deeply, eyes searching for the strength to face whatever was to come. The air was thick with anticipation and fear. The jury's deliberations stretched into hours. Outside, Anna sat in the hallway, her face etched with exhaustion and resolve. Michael appeared, silent but grateful for her presence. Finally, the jury returned, filing in slowly, faces unreadable. The foreperson rose, clearing their throat. "We have reached a verdict." Anna's heart pounded in her chest, every second a lifetime. The judge nodded, signaling for the courtroom to listen closely. Michael's eyes locked on Anna's, finding strength in her steady gaze. The foreperson's voice was steady, but carried the weight of irrevocable judgment. "On the charge of murder, we find the defendant." The room held its breath, the seconds stretching endlessly as fate hung on those final words. "Not guilty." The word struck like a thunderclap. A mix of gasps and murmurs swept the room. Anna's breath caught as Michael's body sagged with relief and disbelief. Linda's tears flowed freely, a storm of emotions breaking free. Marissa Hayes stared, stunned but quickly, composing herself into a mask of professionalism. The judge banged his gavel, calling for order. "This court is adjourned." Anna looked around, seeing faces transformed by the verdict, relief, sorrow, disbelief. She turned to Michael, who whispered, "Thank you." But beneath the victory was a quiet understanding. The scars of this case would linger long after the courtroom emptied. Justice had been served, but the cost was deep and lasting. The battle was won, but the story was far from over. The courtroom had emptied, but the weight of the verdict lingered in the air like a thick fog. Anna sat quietly at the defense table, her eyes distant as she processed the whirlwind of emotion. Michael stood nearby, rubbing his hands nervously, still unable to fully grasp his freedom. Linda remained seated, a fragile silhouette, tears quietly streaming down her cheeks. Reporters gathered at the courthouse steps, their voices a low murmur outside the heavy doors. Anna's thoughts drifted to the cost of justice. How many lives were changed, how many secrets revealed, and how deep the scars would run. She glanced at Michael, whispering, "This is just the beginning." Outside, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows, the city carrying on, unaware of the storm that had passed within these walls. Later that evening, Anna met Michael and Linda in a quiet cafe near the courthouse. The tension was palpable, but softened by the dim, warm lighting. Michael's voice cracked as he thanked Anna for her unwavering faith. Linda looked distant, shadows playing across her face. "I'm still haunted by what I have done," she admitted softly, "but I know now it was the only way." Anna nodded slowly, understanding the complex web of guilt and protection. "Your story has changed the course of justice, but healing will take time." The three shared a long, silent moment, each grappling with the fallout of truth. Outside, rain began to fall gently, mirroring the cleansing yet somber mood. Anna knew the fight for justice was far from over, but for tonight, there was a fragile peace. The next morning, Anna reviewed her notes alone in her office, the silence broken only by the ticking clock. She pondered the case's lingering mysteries, the shadowy figure David Harper had mentioned, the debts that bound the Green family in silence. Though Michael was free, Anna knew the repercussions would ripple through lives for years. Her phone buzzed. It was Tom with a message. "New information. Meet soon." A spark of adrenaline surged. Justice was never clean or simple. It was a living, breathing battle. Anna squared her shoulders, ready to continue the fight beyond the courtroom walls. Some truths had yet to be uncovered, and the shadows still whispered. Later that day, Anna met Tom at a quiet park bench, away from prying eyes. He handed her a worn folder filled with photographs, documents, and notes. "This ties the whole family to a web of corruption," he said grimly. Anna flipped through the evidence, each piece revealing deeper layers of betrayal and hidden agendas. "If this gets out, it will destroy them all," she murmured. Tom nodded, "but it will also expose why Linda took the fall." Anna looked up, determination burning in her eyes. The case was no longer just about Michael. It was about unraveling a legacy of deceit. The sun shone through the trees, but shadows clung to the edges of the clearing, just like the truths they sought. As evening fell, Anna sat alone at her desk, the city lights twinkling through the window behind her. The case files lay open, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. She whispered softly, "Justice is a fragile thing, but we must keep fighting." The quiet hum of the city below was a stark contrast to the turmoil inside her. Somewhere, the Green family's story would continue to unfold, shadows stretching long and secrets waiting to be told. Anna's resolve hardened. The courtroom was only the first battlefield in a war for truth, justice, and redemption. She took a deep breath and prepared for the battles ahead, knowing this was far from over. The courthouse was quiet now, emptied of the hustle and tension that had consumed it for weeks. Anna stood alone in the center of the courtroom, the late afternoon light filtering through stained glass, casting fractured colors on the wooden floor. Her mind replayed every moment, every confession, every lie, every heart-wrenching truth uncovered. Michael's freedom had come at a price far deeper than she'd imagined. As she looked toward the empty jury box, she whispered softly, "Justice is never simple." Outside, the city moved on, unaware of the lives forever changed within these walls. Anna's resolve was firm. The story was far from over, but this chapter had closed. She took a deep breath, knowing the silence was both an end and a beginning. Later that evening, Anna returned to her office, the quiet hum of the city filling the room. She sifted through the case files one last time, her fingers tracing the edges as if trying to hold on to every detail. A message popped on her phone, an anonymous tip, a clue left in the shadows. Her heart quickened. The war for truth was never truly over. Michael's face flashed in her mind, grateful, haunted, free. Anna whispered to herself, some answers wait in silence, some demand action. Outside, rain tapped gently on the windows, washing away the day's dust and carrying the promise of new beginnings and new battles. The following morning, Anna met Michael at a quiet park bench bathed in soft morning light. They spoke in hushed tones, Michael expressing gratitude and lingering fear, Anna offering cautious hope. The past shadows us, but it doesn't define us, she said gently. Michael nodded, eyes searching for peace that seemed just out of reach. Their conversation was interrupted by a distant siren, a reminder that justice was a constant journey. Anna's gaze hardened with determination. We fight on for truth for those who cannot, she vowed. The fresh air filled their lungs, carrying with it the fragile possibility of healing. Weeks later, Anna sat at her desk, reviewing new leads brought by Tom. Each piece hinted at unfinished business, family secrets still buried, a shadowy figure lurking in the background. Her phone rang, Michael on the line. Thank you, Anna, he said softly, for giving me a chance. Anna smiled, though weariness lingered. We'll face whatever comes together. The city outside buzzed with life, indifferent yet alive. Anna closed her eyes briefly, feeling the weight of every victory and loss. The courtroom battles might be over, but the fight for justice was an unending path, winding far beyond any verdict. The final moments were quiet but profound. Anna stood by the courthouse steps as dusk settled, the sky painted in deep purples and oranges. She breathed in the cool air, feeling both the weight and the release of a case that would haunt her forever. Passerby paused, glancing at the solemn woman. Anna's eyes lifted, meeting the horizon. Justice, she whispered, is a fragile light. We carry it forward even when the darkness calls. The city lights blinked alive below, and the silence held a promise of continued fight, of hope, and of questions that might never be fully answered. Anna turned away slowly, the final echoes of the case fading behind her, but never truly gone.